I want to welcome y'all. I'm excited what we're doing. Bert and I, we've done some Zooms before, but what we have want to set up is ideally you'll hear the term monthly, but to get us started, we're doing 2 in July, 2 in August of these, to where we're gaining information from individuals, and we're also trying to share information with individuals to strengthen your pack. And I think before we get going and showing, I guess I just wanted to cover just general purpose. We have a ton of resources and information available to Cub leaders. A lot of that is due to Bert and the things that he's put together. And so what we try to do is come up with a way to give you bite-sized chunks of it, whether it be trying to engage the parent that sits in the back of the room on their cell phone, or tweaking your program calendar for the year of your pack to make sure you have some fun activities. But that's the idea, is because we're growing. The Scout membership after COVID is increasing at a pretty significant rate. However, the number of den leaders or Cub leaders is not increasing at the rate that we need them. And so this is kind of Bert and I's attempt to train, coach, give advice, share advice on best practices, tips to help you engage families and parents into scouting. And we'll give a little bit at a time. So that's really the objective. Anything I'm missing there, Bert?
No, I think that's pretty much it. We do want to focus on engagement, have more people on the team to deal with the picture on the screen there. Many of us have talked about, Lord knows I've heard about it when I do Cub leader training, about all those parents who are sitting in the back of the room reading a book or on their phones. There are ways to get parents involved and to keep them there if they're trying to just drop off their kids and let you as a leader take care of them, and to get them involved if they are on their phones. I mean, one of the best things they could do if they're on their phone is, just recruit them to take pictures and video and have them share it with others. And why is it so important? Because without leaders, there's no Cub Scouting. And without good leadership, families leave Cub Scouting. So y'all are here, y'all are engaged, y'all are good leaders. And so you have families who love you, but a lot of packs don't have enough leaders. That's the primary engagement issue. As a result, families are lost. They show up for something, they don't feel welcomed. You have too few leaders trying to do too much. Families don't get information or enough information or the right information in the right way about what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to be. And they lose interest in the program, maybe because there's boring meetings or meetings that were chaos because there weren't enough good leaders. Now, I wish I could say there was just one thing you could do. That'd solve it. There is no single silver bullet to solve it, but there's many arrows. And frankly, on our recruiting leaders website resource, we sort of put it into the outer circle as a series of ways to get ready to recruit parents, to turn them into helpers, and then turn those helpers into leaders. So it's how you organize, it's how you recognize people, thanking them when they do a good job, making your program the right size, making jobs the right size, making sure you're open and inviting and giving people the opportunity to come in, and you're doing things that they want to do. Because if you're doing something that parents and families want to do, they're going to be more interested in helping you. And ultimately, it comes down to a culture of leading. And that's a culture where everybody in the pack helps, and leaders aren't trying to do it all. Rather, they're coaching parents and helping parents lead and succeed. So you give parents a small job and let them run with it and do a good job. Now, I mentioned every parent helps. If you want to have a policy that you could show your families and say, this is the way we're going to run our pack this year. If you want to join our pack, you've got to apply, you've got to pay the registration fee. Oh, by the way, we have an every parent helps policy, so you're going to have to help. We've actually created one, and it's found here on this recruiting resources page in the recruiting downloads. And I will, this is the link, and at the bottom, this is where the downloads are. We have a document called Every Parent Helps Commitment. And I'm going to back out of this and switch over to that document for a second to show you what it looks like. And you'd be able to download that and edit it to your heart's content. So it begins with a concept that maybe some parents don't realize. This is a family program. It's run by volunteer parents. So like, I'm not wearing a uniform today. This is an official BSA product, by the way. It's from 15 years ago, back when they were hip and maybe also hippies. And if
sorry, that's funny.
You know, let them know this is all of us together. You know, the khaki wearing people are not the scouting coach doing everything. That works in soccer, that works in football, that doesn't work in scouting. So if we're going to do things together, we actually have to have people doing stuff together. So this is a one approach which has really two elements. One is you gotta help lead to den meetings or activities, taking a lead role, not just showing up and sitting on the sidelines, but actually teaching something that you can teach. Maybe it's something you know. Maybe you're going to have to spend a few minutes to read about what the 6 essentials of hiking in the outdoors are to be safe for a Cub Scout are. And then the second element that's on this is the concept of serve either as a registered leader or be active on a pack team. So registered leaders, we've got a list of them there. You could add more if you have, roles that you want to add in, and also teams. Add more teams if depending on how big your program is. But the concept would be to get every parent engaged in some way. So you don't have to be a den leader or a co-den leader or assistant den leader. You could say, all right, I will help with the Blue and Gold Banquet. I will help with the Pinewood Derby. I'm your person for getting the cooking set up for campouts. There's lots of ways to get involved and to have parents help you help the scouts put on the program. All right.
Is it my turn?
Let me see. No, I'm going to do one more thing, I think. And the concept is don't just have people like put their name down beside a job, but be sure that you guide them. Give them the tools they need so that they can lead and succeed. Coach them so that they can be successful, and then recognize them when they do a good job. Now, Ben.
All right. Thank you, Bert. So a couple of things I left off at the beginning. This is not a requirement by no means, but as good looking as Bert and I are, we don't like looking at ourselves. So if y'all could turn your cameras on, that would be great. I understand if you're driving or you're cooking or doing something else and it doesn't work out, that's okay. But just wanted to put a polite request if you're able to turn your cameras on. That way we can interact, because we want to fix this to where it's not just Bert and I talking, a little bit more interacting. And Stephen, thanks for throwing in a question in the chat, because speaking in the chat, we do want, if you'll put in the chat who you are, what your role is, what your position is, and then which unit you're with. And then also, if you have questions or anything throughout, be sure we will interact with you throughout the presentation. We want this to be an ongoing learning experience where we're going to learn too from you all. Also, we're committed to this being 30 minutes. We don't want this to be an hour long. We want you to be able to say, hey, I got something out of that. And I'm going to join back because it is a respectful of my time in 30 minutes. So we want to keep to that. And I do know, I did recognize, Bert, we had about 2 minutes of stoppage time for starting late. So I've got to try to stop time at 7:32. Okay, I'm going to get into mine. A piece that I have, recruit right away. So I've got, y'all are Cub leaders, and I think too many times we wait for the parent to engage us, or we don't put them right away that you need to recruit. My opinion of this, and I think Bert's too, is when parents join, just go ahead and say it's part of the pack to register as an adult or a volunteer. I think one reason, the benefits of it is it does remove the barrier of, oh, I'm not a leader, I can't do that. Well, no, you actually signed up when your son or daughter signed up. So you could set yourself from the very beginning. It creates a safer environment. Everybody that registers has gone through a background check. And so by setting up front that you recruit leaders and that they're leading and registering right away helps. When you're recruiting right away with leaders, be clear and specific. Explain what the roles are. Be very finite in what you need them to do. What I call is use a little bit of a rifle shot. It's versus a shotgun, like, hey, I need help. If you want to help, please let me know. Whereas I'm going to say, hey, Jim, could you help me do X? And you're going to be put on the spot, and you're either going to tell me yes or no, but you feel like, okay, I'm going to help. I'm going to do that. Something else, a trick tip here is one of the first parent orientation meetings. I've glazed over that quickly. Parent orientation meetings. If your PAC's not doing a standalone or a specific parent orientation meeting, you should. A lot of times your first PAC meeting is like, oh, we're going to get the new families in and do an orientation for them. Y'all know that's crazy. But the first parent orientation I ever attended, my daughter joined, and the Cub Master said, all the scouts go over here with all the den leaders, and he locked us in the chapel, and he ran down the year of events and said, we're not getting out of here until we have assignments done. And of course, somebody emailed and said, well, can't you just email this and then we sign up for it? And y'all know how that goes. You pop out the email and then the same few people end up doing the same jobs. So he held us in there, and he's like, he went down the calendar. Well, we need somebody to help with the popcorn sale. We need somebody to help with the go see it at the fire station. We just need a parent to go. We need somebody to bring snacks. So that was a pretty powerful piece for me and helped open my eyes to that. And then no one is too new. I think every one of y'all were new to scouting at some point. Believe it or not, Bert was new at one point. And I'm pretty sure somebody drug him in there and said, get to work. And we're all new. And it really is, don't let that be a barrier to getting your parents and your family signed up. All right, I'm sticking to time. You're up next, Bert.
All right. Yeah, we got a match tonight. Atlanta United is playing.
All righty.
Here's a way to create a culture of leading and to induce people to join your team of leaders. Make it fun. Don't just have leader meetings with an agenda. Have a social time. Have a cookout. Invite them over to your backyard. You know, we actually had coming out of COVID, when we could get back together, we had with both our pack and our troop get-togethers at on the belt line at a brew pub. Now, we didn't wear our khaki uniforms. We were just wearing regular clothes, and we were very moderate, but socialize the way you would socialize as friends. And I guarantee you that if you are in scouting, you're going to end up with friends that you keep well beyond when your kids are in the program, that you're going to stay in touch with for years. So scouting should be fun, friends and family, and invite parents to join the fun and be on the leader team. Now, another way to involve people is make it clear you're not looking for just one person to do it. because nobody wants to be the one leader who everybody, sees, oh, Ben signed up to be a den leader. Now I'm off the hook. I don't have to do anything. Because you're not going to get one person to do that. But if you seek 2 or 3 to be co-leaders, create a team who can back each other up, you'll find it a lot easier for people to say, yeah, I'll be part of a team and we'll get this done. I know that I don't have to be the only one everyone's relying on. Ben?
All right. So I think my next piece is making leading important. I want to say, if y'all have not been told this, each one of y'all on this call is a superhero. Whether you believe it or not, you never know how you're impacting folks, but just for the sole reason that you stepped up and are helping lead. I see mostly Cub Masters on the chat, and I see a den leader. So one, thank you. You are all servant leaders leading by example. And I love the little graphic there where it shows the uniform underneath your business clothes, because this is something you do on a volunteer. So thank you. I'd say, so it's just important. Bert had mentioned that parents, families, volunteers are what runs the scouting program. And then the more you get families involved, the kids are going to like it more. And something that resonates with me, Bert and I were talking, was that I may have read it. I think actually, Bert, I was rewatching a video that you did, and it talked about you as parents mainly signed up because your child wanted to do it, but you were impacting so many others. And when you start and look at them getting their eagle or going to college or getting their first job, and you get to think, and they go back and say, hey, I remember you helped me get there. So you're superheroes. Thank you. If we flip to the next one there, Bert, I think my next one's my slide. Now is the time. If anybody's heard the yardstick concept, what I mean by that is a snapshot of how much time you get to spend with your children. I guess you all have children in the program. So I have 2 teenage daughters, and they drive me crazy sometimes. I'm a house full of ladies. But if you'll look at the infographic right here, if you imagine that bar going across the bottom is a yardstick, and you have birth through toddler age, preschoolers, and then you're getting, preschool when they start really understanding and knowing what's going on, and you're interacting with your child. So envision me just snapping off the group from preschool and off. So there's gone. That time's gone. You're busy changing diapers, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So when they get into right out at that 5 years, getting into pre-K and kindergarten, they're starting scouting. So then you have time that you're spending with them in scouting from 5 years to 12 years. And then, as I just mentioned, I have teenagers. They don't meet me at the door anymore. That's why I had to get a dog. The dog meets me at the door now. My children are on the phone doing other things. So it's starting for me. I have a 13 and a 16-year-old, and they're slowly, not purposely, but they're distancing themselves from me. So I had so imagine once they get about 16, snap that end off. That's gone. So you have this very little bitty section of life where you get to spend with your child. And this is where now is the time to make the most of it. I know we got busy lives, we're doing things, but if you ever needed some motivation, and if you ever want to do that presentation at your pack, let me know. I'll send you some yardsticks. I had Home Depot deliver some to us, and it is a powerful story to actually, when you take the yardstick that's this big and you break it up into this and say, this is really the time that you have to spend with your children. And then if you, that's a very good motivator to help parents sitting in the back of the room say, yes, you're going to get up and help. So thanks for letting me share that brief moment with you. The other parts I want to share is scouting. Too many times, or a lot of times, you hear youth development. I think y'all know this, but I've been it's more than just youth development. It's family development. And I've been doing scouting 21 years now. And I think from the very beginning, I didn't take offense, but I was like, it's not just for scouts, it's for families, because dads, moms, grandparents, guardians, everybody benefits and they grow. I would tell you, each one of you on this call is better now for being in scouting than you were before you started. Not meaning you were a bad person, but you've gotten better. So it's for everybody. I mentioned already, you're not just impacting your children, but others. And then one of the funny ones I like to say is the BSA doesn't stand for Babysitters of America. So don't be bashful in saying that. And parents in the back of the room, yes, that means you. I need your help. You are going to help us. And then the only way the scouting program works is with families like you and parents stepping up. Did I miss anything in that section, Bert?
No, I think you got it. I mean, it's critical for parents, to be involved. We are doing them a favor, as you point out, because when they are set up as leaders and helpers, even if the first time they help, they're just doing a tiny little thing. And even if you as a Cub master or den leader or other leader are looking at it and going, wow, I could have done a lot better. The fact that you make a big deal and thank that person in front of all the families, all the kids, is going to cause their child to go, wow, my mom, my dad is awesome. They did a good job. They were leading. They got some love from the pack leaders. So that's a great thing.
But well, I think I'm supposed to cover some resources. Do you have the page that you can share?
Yeah, I can go to the website. What do you want me to go to?
Just
first?
the main where we can show where they can find all the links to where it's fun activities.
Cool. Let me
and while he's doing that, I'll just share. Hopefully y'all join us again as we're winding down here on, I think the next one is the 19th of July. I promise it'll be 30 minutes, no longer. And the topics, let's see, just to give you a little, oh, he's got it real quickly. So this is just, that's Commissioner Pace. While he's doing that, to give you a little heads up of what next topics are on the 19th, are building a calendar of activities as the lure for adults, joint venture workarounds, advancement as a gateway, trophy turnabout. You're good at this, now lead, no leader, no activity, and then right size programs. That's what we have tailored for this next session. But as always, please send us, put it in the chat if there's a topic you would like for us to cover. We will be sure to cover it in the series to come. But we'd like for y'all to fill up. If not, you're going to listen to Ben and Bert and some other guest speakers. If you're also an expert, I love the idea of the receipt tape. That definitely is easier to rip. that yardstick's kind of tough. You got to pre-cut it to do it. So the receipt tape is a great idea. But if you all would like to be a part of this, our goal is, this is just starting. This is our first one. And then I'd like to get several hundred people on here listening and learning, but I've learned to keep it short, keep it sweet, give you a little bit of the time so you can get in and out right after dinner, hopefully. If the 7 o'clock time doesn't work, we'll make arrangements, but that's kind of our gist. But Bert's got a couple things on there about what's on the webpage. Go ahead.
So recruiting resources, those are found under volunteer. Then you have to let that hover to find a drop-down list where you'll find recruiting resources. So for example, we're focusing mostly on this page, turning parents into leaders. And it's got a best practices video from last year. It's a little bit over an hour. The good news is on the YouTube, if you put it at 2 times speed, it's only a half an hour. But this is where you'll find those downloads that I had on the slide before, including the Yardstick timeline script, recruiting scripts when you have to have what I call the talk with parents about how somebody's got to step up if we're going to have scouting. Ben mentioned we've got other resources here in the Atlanta Area Council website under activities like fun activities, advancement activities, which will take you to a page where you can find ways to deliver the Cub Scout program, and it'll include ways to help parents. So there's a lot on there. Poke around, and I hope you will find stuff to help.
Yeah, there's a ton on there, and that's kind of what we want to take bits and pieces of each one of those and share with y'all. There is going to be a time if y'all want to ask questions or just discuss. But I did want to share. Apparently, when you clicked on the link, it should have registered you for the rest of them, but apparently there's a glitch in Zoom. So I'm going to send an email to everybody who registered for tonight, and with the link, so you can share it with as many people. And I do have a challenge. We want this to grow. If you thought it was valuable, where we sent a link out. If you're not following on Facebook, the Linear Council, please do that and find. This is called the Cub Scout Engagement Series. Put a note on there that says good, quick information. You ought to join, and then share it with your leaders. Because, like I said, we'll have new topics every session. But with that, anybody? I see some things. I'll send the link out. Any other questions or just discussion while we're here?
And for the benefit of those who are watching in the future, you can shoot that QR code. It'll send an email to me, and I will answer you promptly because I'm retired.
That's right. So thank y'all. 31, 32 was our stoppage, including our stoppage time. Bert can watch the United game. But thanks for what y'all do. I can't echo that enough. I think y'all's service goes mentioned so much because y'all do so much for scouting. So thanks for spending 30 minutes with us tonight, and look forward to seeing y'all on the 19th for more.